thank you for this experience on planet Earth, because we're never going to get it. You're never going to get the exact who you think you are, because the minute you've got it, you're going to change season. The minute you've got it, you're going to change your mind. The minute you've got it, you're going to get confused and you lose it again like amnesia. And this is all for a reason. You. My name is Victoria Bond. I'm a psychic medium, a spiritual empowerment coach, but that is just a couple of my titles. And if you haven't been to my YouTube channel before, hello, click the subscribe button. And if you have been here a few times, hello and welcome back. Today, I want to talk a little bit about who you are, who you think you are, and who are you really? Like literally, who are you? This is a question that I ask myself every single day. Who the fuck am I? Because 1 minute I'm this version, the next minute I'm this version. 1 minute I'm introducing myself as my name is Victoria Bond and I'm a mum, I'm a wife, I'm a friend, I'm a coach, I'm a psychic medium, I'm a sister, I'm a daughter. I'm so many different things. But here is the thing that really messes with me. Every single person that has ever met me in my whole entire life here on planet Earth has a completely different perspective on who I am. And what happens is when we meet somebody, they literally attach an idea of who you are and all the rest of your life, but that there is a completely limited perspective. And I'm going to say it's a total lie. Okay. So let's talk about this. Who am I? Who are you? Who are we? Now, when we look at ourselves as multi-dimensional beings, it's really interesting because we do have this 3D version of us. So this is my body, right? My body is a 3D version. And with my body is called Victoria Bond. It was Victoria Mania. Now it's Victoria Bond because I married somebody and took his last name, which is a really interesting concept, really. And I've got a couple of children. I've got a 9-year-old, got an 11-year-old. I live in a house on a hill. I have a job. I do specific things like I go running and I go to the gym and I like particular foods and I go to bed at a certain time. I have a certain routine. This is a 3D version of me. This is I want to say the goddess version of me, where I use my body as a temple of pleasure, of pain, of learning and growth, of interaction with other people. And this 3D version is how we identify ourselves here on planet Earth. I am Victoria Bond, which is completely not true. That's actually my name of this one version. We also have the 4D and the 5D, which are pretty prominent in the multi-dimensional self. And when we go beyond the seventh dimension, it becomes one. It becomes more of a collective consciousness where there's not so much density. It's more kind of that space when you go into a meditation and you were like, I don't even know who I am right now. I am just one with the world. And when we are able to access the multidimensional self part of us, then we are really time traveling and we don't have like the identification of the individuality of this solid, dense version. And I experienced this recently when I went for a beautiful trip to the Lyrian Collective. And when I actually was able to look at myself, I was like, this isn't Victoria Bond's body, but this is my consciousness. And that got me thinking, with all these different soul streams that are coming through into this experience of the body, and we're able to access so much now, it's kind of different to how we have been taught growing up or what was experienced 100 years ago. We are able to access something that the ancestors before us weren't able to access unless they were like shaman healers. Isn't that interesting? Maybe this is just a point of view that I have. Maybe it's just something that I've heard, and that's what we want to talk about. You are literally playing out the projections, the deflections of others, the expectations of others, and what other people think and judge you to be. I remember thinking about 10, 20 years ago, I don't know, a long time ago, I think I was kind of in my early 20s. I remember thinking, I wonder what my partner's friends think about me. And if they think that about me, because I can dive in and actually read people's minds or presume to know what their minds are thinking, then maybe there's truth in that, because wherever there's smoke, there's fire. How do all of these people perceive me to be? And I remember diving into all of the psychics of all of these people, starting with my partner's friends. And then I'm thinking about my partner's parents. And then I'm thinking about my parents. Then I'm thinking about my friends. Then I'm thinking about the past relationships or whatever. And I'm literally getting in the minds of other people and trying to see from their viewpoint on how they saw me and what I showed to them of to be me. But the thing is, how could they know me when I only showed a certain part of me to them? Now, to give you another idea of this, when I show up as a coach, or when I show up on YouTube, or when I show up doing a program, I've got a certain energy about me. I've got a certain intensity about me. But then when I'm a mother, I am kind of quiet. I'm loving. I move a lot slower. I'm cooking dinner. I'm being nurturing, asking if my children are okay and how was their day. When I am with friends, I'm a completely different version. When I am being me, when I'm just literally coming inward, I'm like really, really quiet, trying to slow everything down, coming into the breath, feeling the feelings of the emotions, quietening the mind. There's all these different dimensions to me, and there's all these different parts to me. And a lot of the parts that people will see is from literally their points of views of who they think that you are. And the minute you start rocking the boat and showing a different part, like the nurturing part or the quieter part, or you're showing the louder part or the coachy part or the intense, whatever you're showing, if they're not used to that part, then you can experience extreme rejection. So, how do we bring all of these parts into sovereignty? We see that word all the time, sovereignty. We hear it, we see it, we are trying to be it. Like, how do we bring sovereignty in? And how do we go, how can I be me? How can I be the big I am, as Eckhart Tolle says, rather than the little I am, the I am this and I'm that and I'm this and I'm that and I'm this and I'm that? How can we use these parts of us where we may need to go into that part? You know, as a 3D being, I do desire to be this part of the mother. I do desire to be this part of the lover. I do desire to be the part of the coach, or the person who's creating YouTube video for thousands to watch. I do desire to be all these parts. But how do we be okay with all parts around all people without cutting off different parts of us? So who are you? When someone says, "Who are you?" Do you say, "Hello, my name is so and so, and I've got a couple of kids and I live down the road"? Isn't it interesting how we introduce ourselves to people? Isn't it interesting that instantaneous judgment of who you think they are? We look at their status, we look at what what they bring to the world, we look at their, you know, the house that they live in or whatever it is, their job is, how they speak, how they stand, what they're wearing. As human beings, we are literally animal-like. We are literally tribal. We are like constantly sensing and taking data on what's around us. Is this person correct for me? Is this the person that I want to create with? Is this person I want to literally collab with? You know, is this the person that's going to fit into where my status is and where I'm going? And we see this in a lot of the self-help books. Grant Cardone says, I want my children to hang out with these particular type of children because I want them to get this particular result. You are literally the average of the 5 people that you hang out with. You know, there's that saying, don't quote me on it, please. And it's true. It's totally true. But is that a little bit of powerlessness? Thinking that we are who we hang out with, we are what we eat. What if we took this approach of, I can be who I am today without having to have those judgments, the deflections, the projections, the expectations of other people bouncing off me. When I realized I had this ability to dive into the other, this is before I knew I was a projector, this is before I knew any of these things, before I knew I was a psychic medium, that I could access these gifts, I was able to read someone who's standing in front of me and all the things that they thought about me. Now, some would say that's just your points of views and your thoughts, and you are deflecting. You're kind of like, nope, this isn't me, this is them. But I'm pretty sure we can tap into each other's mind, into our thought patterns. The brain is always going and going and going. And when you're trying to fit in somewhere, when you're trying to meet expectations, or you're trying to be like somebody else, then what happens is a whole lot of fuckery. We get crazy, confused with who we are. I was just talking it into my business mastermind, and people were saying, I want to quit. I'm feeling this way. And I said, what if you just gave yourself some grace, stopped, and rather than go, 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 respond, 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 do, 10x, work harder, trying to meet the expectations of what it means to be an entrepreneur. What if you just showed up for yourself today and you asked the question, what is my capacity to serve today? What is my capacity to serve? Where am I today? Like, which part is playing in which cycle, right? We've got cycles, we've got rhythms, we've got waves, we've got patterns that repeat themselves. Where am I right now? Am I feeling like, yeah, I want to infuse into this part? Or am I feeling like I need to come in? Am I feeling external or internal? Am I feeling resistance or unalignment? Or am I feeling aligned? And what I love to teach about is these rhythms, these cycles, these patterns, these waves. Because when people are on a high, they're like, yeah, let's go, 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 go. Let's plan all of the stuff. I want this and I want that and I want this. And that's that one part that wants that. But what about that part of you that is premenstrual and a week before your bleed is like, I just want to cozy up and I wish I didn't take so much on. Oh my goodness, I can't maintain that anymore. Or I just want to be a daughter. I want to be loved and nurtured and mothered. Or I want to be a mother. Or I want to be a lover. I don't want to do my hair and makeup. I want to stay in my active wear. What if every single part of you was okay and anybody else that didn't accept all parts of you was in it to receive something from you? This is a very hard pill to swallow. So I'm just going to repeat that. What if there's all these different parts of you, all these different cycles and rhythms and patterns and waves? There's all these emotions. There's all these dimensions. You've got the 3D and the 4D and the 5D and the multi-dimensional. There's all these soul streams. There's all these parts of you. We can't even put you into any type of box, right? You identify very much with the 3D, and the 3D has had these expectations, the projections of others and judgments of others, which has made you conform and be limited because you've been programmed and controlled in a way. This is being a human being in this system, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But to break out of that system and to go with your cycles, to go with your different parts, to be in integrity and authentic to who you are, you have to ebb and flow through all parts of you. And if somebody external from you, from your human, judges you and makes you wrong for going in, or makes you wrong for coming out, or makes you wrong for focusing in a different part of you that requires that nurturing, what if that person was just to receive something from you rather than actually be with you for a lifetime? So there's no wrongness, but what if this person wasn't meant to be in your life all the time? So we see this with clients, we see this with all relationships throughout our life. There is mirrors. So that we've got mirrors. All of our relationships are mirrors. There's always a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And there's always a reason, right? There always is a reason. And whether you're having good interactions with people or not so flash interactions with people, there's always a lesson. That lesson is one of a soulmate, because even the people that have come in and supposedly screwed us over, they have got a soul connection with us to teach us things. It's very hard to grasp in the 3D, but in a more expanded version of us, when we can look down and observe the 3D experience, we can actually see that we learned all of these different things for the expansion of us. And a lot of this can be 4D interactions with others, which has this conflict and this discord. Quite often, what happens is when you switch parts and you go into more of an internal part of you, or into a more spiritual part of you, or whatever you're doing. And this could be between months or years or weeks, and it could be decades that you're switching these parts up. We have kind of like daily and weekly and monthly and yearly and like I say, um, it could be a long time, decades, when we're switching different parts, but friendships change, relationships change and they shift. And it's all to do with the judgments and the expectations and literally the projections of other people because of this mirror. For instance, you desire to do mediumship, you desire to go into consciousness, you desire to become more of who you are by looking into evolution and seeking, looking, far and beyond for the truth of who you are. And then somebody else will say to you, like a partner, for instance, oh, or a sister, you're getting a little bit too deep into this. Don't go too woo-woo. Don't get too cray-cray. Don't get too out there. That is saying, don't change too much because I recognize this part of you. And what will happen is if they accept all of you unconditionally, so this is what true unconditional love is, this is the whole lifetime part, then what they'll do is they'll be so happy for you coming into this different part. And they don't need to worry about you, because even if you're going in, even if you're going quiet, even if you're coming into the space of nurturing and filling up this temple, this goddess temple, so you can overflow and share it with the world, they're going to know that it's all perfect. And some of my greatest friends that we no longer talk, or maybe we talk like once every couple of months, my greatest friends, my best friends, will never ever say to me, you changed or you did this. Because they know it's just another part of me. So once you accept that there's tons of different parts of you, tons of different personalities, if you will, and you are literally a seasonal creature, and this is how we should really respond to ourselves. So asking yourself a question like, what is my capacity of showing up and serving the world today? Like I said before, but also, do I require some alone time? Do I require some nurturing for my human? Do I require some connection? Do I require like some type of detox for this portal? It's really interesting because when we're doing 5D stuff, we're actually more coming into this collective consciousness and there's no judgment. So if there is judgment on yourself or others, and there's this mirror effect going for the lessons that we're having, it's really important to know that that's not 5D consciousness. 5D consciousness is more the spirit realm, and this is where we can access spirit. This is where we can actually access ourselves as a 5D being. And this is where the mind will transcend. So we go beyond the 3D thinking mind and we transcend into more of a 5D, which is the fifth dimension. This is where we can access spirit. This is where we connect more into the earth, actually, and more the animals, because the earth and the animals don't have judgment. This is actually where we connect in with little children as well. Rather than the doing for them, it is that deep divine connection where everything just feels like bliss. It doesn't matter if it's raining on your human, you are receiving. It doesn't matter if it's sunshine, you're receiving. It doesn't matter if a bill comes in, you're like, it's okay, it's going to be taken care of. Everything that we do is of joy and pure flow. We can feel the flow of the 5D through the body. As the mind will transcend, we know that it doesn't matter what's happening around us, it's happening for us. But when we're in the 3D, when we're in that third dimension, what happens is the mind is is literally, it's going, it's ticking, it's winding, and it's going, we've got to do this and we've got to do this. It's the to-do list. It's this, it's this, it's this, it's this. And we start getting a bit of a mind knot going on, which can confuse us and take us into judgment of ourselves and others. But if we're always coming from this fifth dimensional, which is definitely the heart space of pure love, leading with love, keeping the heart open, we know everything's working for us and we don't even slightly worry. The 4D, however, is the in-between, okay? So the human body, the 3D, is phenomenal. It's amazing as long as we've got a good hold on the brain. So our brain and the passenger that we have constantly talking to ourselves, which we think is ourselves, but it's not ourselves. It's literally our mind entity talking to us, the smaller I, the one, the ego, trying to control us. As long as we've got a handle on that and know how to do the mindset work, we're good to go. It's beautiful. We can experience things. But the 4D is the place where the shadows lay. And this is a place that we are in very, very often, more than the 5D. To access the 5D, we must be comfortable in the 4D. The longer we are comfortable in the 4D, and we've got a handle of what that is, and a pure faith of being able to be in there to work through it, so a real strength, then what we can do is we can literally go into this fifth dimension and hold the energy of the 5D. And when we hold this energy, what it does is it expands us so beyond the body. This is where the magic and the miracles happen, right? But to do that, we must go into the 4D with no judgment. No judgment of the shadows, no judgment of the judgments, no judgment of the projections or the expectations that we've had on ourselves and others. In fact, we've got to go into it and release it from our body. And this is the shadow work that we do. So, who are you? You are the 3D body. You are the different parts. You are the 4D. So there's depths. There is shadow that we need to unlock from all these programming, that's like the programs and the conditioning and the other people's thoughts and judgments and points of views that have created massive limitation. And that is a part of being a human being. That is a part of the experience. To be yourself is to understand that you are all parts, but to identify only with your body, or only with the shadow, or only with the fifth dimensional of I am love and light, is to be very ignorant of not understanding how many parts of you there are. And this isn't even touching base on the soul streams. With the soul streams that are coming through with the soul, right? We've identified that the 3D is the body and the 5D is the spirit. Now, the soul is the multi-dimensional self. And we get to time travel and open up different doors and literally experience different parts of ourselves. Some of those parts in these different dimensions are in form. Some of them are just in light. And like I said before, I was able to travel to a place called Lyra. So it's this Lurian collective. I don't know too much about it, but I know there's a lot of cats. And I see cats everywhere, a lot of different beings. So they are in solid form. And I could see myself as a cat. Now, rather than going into my mind, I just observed it and then brought my consciousness back to the message that I had to bring back for planet Earth from these two. It was like a king and queen of Lyra. It was the most interesting, bizarre experience ever. And to be able to be in that, I had to acknowledge that I wasn't asleep. I wasn't awake. I was in a channel. And I couldn't identify with who Victoria Bond was because my consciousness was in this cat-like body on a completely different planet where they interacted differently. They didn't interact as humans. It was very interesting. And there wasn't a lot of thought. It was quite direct and a lot of love. So as this multidimensional self, we can time travel into different spaces and places, and they're not necessarily on different planets. It can be in different dimensions. So when we ask the question, who am I? How far do you want to go? Do you want to be in your 3D? Do you want to go into the 5D, or do you want to be the multidimensional self? You've got to be connected to all parts of you, but which part are you connecting in with now? If you're in a complaining, if you're in a like, woe is me, this is so hard, I don't know what to do next, da 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 da, we all do it. I know I do. Then that is the fourth dimension, because the limitations and the shadows are really stunting our growth to be time traveling beings, which is what we have access to now. So, who are you? I'm telling you right now, you're not just a Pleiadian starseed. You're not just a human being. You're not just a mum. I love that one. Like, oh, what do you do? I'm just a mum. Well, um, you are a mum amongst so many different parts of you. And a lot of people think you have to be making a lot of money, or, be on social media, or have a certain status, or be an influencer, or be famous to be somebody. And this is so limiting, because even if you are just a mum, you are literally here just as important as everybody else. From the person that works in the supermarket to the person who's literally in the White House, there is no difference between the love that God will bring through for you, or the universe, or source consciousness. There is no difference between your worthiness of receiving love, of receiving money, of receiving a seat in heaven, if you believe in heaven. Heaven and hell and purgatory can be right here. And we have to understand and take responsibility for the different parts of us. And if somebody doesn't want to be in that part of us because they don't recognize that part of us, we must not give up that part of us for another. Now, if it's a part that is creating pain and creating discord, if it's not actually in alignment, if it's a part that's a conditioned part from society or the collective or habits and what you've been told you're meant to be, now that's a good thing to let go. But what I mean is the inward part of you, the external part of you, the glamorous part of you, or the mum like going for a hike part of you, we cannot let go of us, because that's the seeds of what create us. It's the seeds of us to go through the rhythms and the cycles and the patterns and the waves. We can't just love somebody because they're up here, but oh my God, vibrating high, because no one can hold that. Every single person ebbs and flows. And the minute we are judging others, or others are judging us, or we are judging others judging us, that is when we go down into this soup of literally deflecting on each other, projecting on each other, expectations and judgments. And the earth does not need this right now. The collective's consciousness does not need this right now. The different planet collectives do not need this. The multi-dimensional parts of us in literally different places and parallel universes, all the things we don't need, that limiting smallness. We need more grace, more love, and more compassion. And the only way to do this is by starting with you. If you want to be a medium, if you want to be an intuitive, if you want to be an oracle, a channel, if you want to make a difference in the world, if you want to find out who you are, and I get so many people that do magnificent mediumship because they want to find out who they are. And they want to access their psychic gifts. And they're one of the same, because to know spirit is to know you. To access your multidimensional self, you must be 3D, 4D, 5D. You must be able to see the conditioning, see that within the shadows within yourself, and transmute that by accepting all parts of you and then knowing which ones you want to play with. So I ask you again, who are you? Who are you? What is the bigger I? How can you go beyond the small I, the I want, I can't, one day? There's not enough time. I don't have enough money. When can you get past the excuses and coming into the I am right now? I just am. I'm an artist. I'm a friend. I am whatever I am in the moment. And the season that I'm in is the season that I'm in. And it's okay. Wherever I am, I'm okay. Don't give up your soul for other people. Don't think because you met somebody in a certain high vibration that you need to stay there. You're allowed to have flavor. You're allowed to age. You're allowed to change just like the body does. So does the personality and the mind. The spirit is always there and it's always the same. It's the essence of who you are. But we're always shifting and changing because we're multi-dimensional beings. I am a multi-dimensional being with many different parts of me. I don't know who I am. All I know is that I have got an essence. And as long as I can hold onto that essence of pure love and joy and faith, as long as I know how I feel within my body and what is required for me, everything else will fall into place because I am spirit. And to know spirit is to know yourself. Now, I'm never going to tell you all the scientific facts or how the brain works. And I did not pass normal school. I say my words backwards, and sometimes I'm done up to the nines, and other times I'm wearing my activewear after a hike. But this is what makes me unique. Never presume to know who I am, and I'll never presume to know who you are. Every single day, I look at my children and my husband, and I think, I wonder what part of you I'm going to be able to meet today. I wonder how much growth you have today. I wonder how you can deprogram yourself today. I wonder what experiences you have today, whether it's pain or pleasure. This is a duality. This is the world that we live in this multidimensional self. And every single day I say, thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to serve, to be a mother, to be a lover, to be a friend, to be a coach. Thank you for allowing me to be on the beach and to come into myself and to speak my words and to be alone. Thank you for letting me feel the pain of what it means to lose people, to have people judge me, to have people presume to know who I am when I don't even know who I am. Thank you for this experience on planet Earth, because we're never going to get it. You're never going to get the exact who you think you are, because the minute you've got it, you're going to change season. The minute you've got it, you're going to change your mind. The minute you've got it, you're going to get confused and you lose it again like amnesia. And this is all for a reason. I hope you've enjoyed this. This has been a little bit of a subconscious mind shift, a little bit of you may not even know what I said, but anything that I share with you in my programs, in my free content, there is a codex in there. And the codex is going to be shifting your mind without you even knowing it. So it's not for you to get, it's for you to be and to feel the energy coming through. And this will untangle some of those connections that we've created in the brain that makes us think that judgment is good or judging others is good. Instead, we can come from a space of what is correct for me. Who am I today? What would feel good for me to do today? Because that is the experience. This is the human experiment. Enjoy it while it lasts, because you're here for a good time, not a long time, and all will be revealed one day very soon. Namaste.